Always glad to be talking with people in the world of comics. And on this episode, I'm talking with author, creator Shawn Lewis. Shawn, thank you for joining.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jason. I appreciate it. Glad to be on.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are talking about a book series that is called Heartless Bastards. I'm a teacher. I'm a high school teacher. I think I can say bastards. I think I can say that. I think
Right.
that
Yeah, we took
works.
a little bit of a chance in a Teen Plus book with that title, but I had to stay true to the characters. We kind of created this mercenary team that came from our Immortalis series.
Yeah,
So yeah, I couldn't change the name. I do if I'm at a Comic Con, there's children around, I just refer to it as the Heartless. So I kind of little
that
PC with
works.
it.
That
So
works. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what led you to this world of creating? I see lots of golden age material behind you and some
Oh
other
yeah.
material as well. So curious about your entry into the field.
Yeah, actually just a comic fan from a young age when I was like 12 or 13, me and a couple buddies, there was this pharmacy in town called Fruth Pharmacy. I grew up in a little small Ohio town called Wellston, a town of like 2,000 people. We'd go there and we'd read comic books, stand there in their book section reading comic books for 2, 3 hours just to pick the one comic we were going to buy, that kind of thing. So always loved comics, always wanted to, dreamed of writing it someday. In about 2005, Mike Penny, who ran Dakawaka Printing back in the day, he had a contest. He did a little independent series called Helios. His contest was he wanted to see who could write the best 5 pages of the start of his next book. I think it was issue 3. Sent it in to him. He wrote me back, "Hey, you didn't win, but we like what you were doing. So if you have anything else, you think about publishing anything, reach out to us and we'll give you a shot and see if we like it." So about 6 months goes by. I finished the series, a one shot called Force 51. He liked it. He published it. He's like, "Hey, what else you got?" I mean, back in those days, it was a win if you didn't lose money on a title, right? So he's like,
Hmm.
"We didn't make any money, but we didn't lose any money. So do you have anything else you're working on?" So I'd worked on I was working on a screenplay at the time called Purity. We worked that around, made it into a 4 issue limited series. We got really lucky with our artist back then. It was Andres Granado who went on to do uh, Gotham City Sirens, Justice League Dark, and right now he's doing Blade Runner for DC.
Hmm.
So he did the art for it. It's a beautiful book. Love doing it. Um, it was out for about 3 or 4 months when he gives me a call. He's like, "Hey, we just got optioned by Kickstarter Entertainment, who's doing the Preacher series in Los Angeles." So I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." So I'm like, but to be honest with you, at the time, you don't know what you don't know. So I thought, oh, they're just optioning everything left and right, picking up whatever they can, that kind of thing. But
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
went through that old rigmarole with that. Got about 150 table reads. We were rep by a lady named Samantha Olson Shear. She's with Midnight Hags now. She opened up her own shingle of like a publishing house. Really nice lady, super awesome, treated us really well. Um, like you said, I went through all the table reads and everything, and then about probably 6 to 8 months after that whole process started, Mike passed away. So I was just, yeah, yeah, he had multiple sclerosis, and I'll tell you, he did more with less than I'll ever be able to do over my entire span of my life. He was in his 30s when he passed away, but um, yeah, I was like, man, it was just too much for me at the time. I was like, Samantha, do whatever you got to do with this. I'm stepping away for a while. I also had a 10-year-old daughter at the time, so I'm like, we're getting into sports, that kind of thing. So stepped away from it for a bit. They had it rewritten by Hollywood writers, that kind of thing. Never went anywhere. It ended up a slow, painless death. Um, and back in 2018, the rights reverted back to me, but I've still not done anything else with it. But I need to re-release it because, like I said, that art is just beautiful in that book. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. At the time, I was in Arkansas when all this happened. About 3 or 4 years after that, I started working with Ryan Mosley. He was actually my boss, so but we'd always talked about doing something together, doing maybe writing a comic, writing a series, doing something together because we're both big comic nerds. We're also Star Wars nerds. Opening night of Rogue One, we're out there. We both had to work the next day at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. watching Rogue One. having to get up in like 6 hours after the movie lets out to go to work. But we'd always talked about doing something, and we never did. But then, life happens. I transferred to Colorado for a job. I'm up here for about 2 years. We still stay in touch, still talk to each other about once a week, that kind of thing. Ryan reached out to me, says, "Hey, I got this great idea that I can't get out of my head for I think would make a good comic book." And he pitches me this idea, and I'm like, turning it over, and it's like, "Okay, I'll think about it." And he thought because I was being silent and everything that, yeah, I didn't like it, or I thought, I was just, poo-pooing on the idea, didn't want to have anything to do with it. Well, within the first 2 or 3 days, I wrote like the first 8 pages because I couldn't get the idea out of my head after he sold it to me. So that's how we started with Immortalis. And that was around 2021, 2022. So we started releasing Immortalis. We went the Kickstarter route. We did 3 successful Kickstarters for the first 6 issues. And then we signed with a publisher out of the UK, Marcosia. Been real nice
Hmm.
to us. They're super awesome about just letting us do whatever we want to do. It's like, just you get an issue done, send it to us, we'll publish it. We'll get it out in Barnes and Noble, Walmart, all the places we weren't in. So really enjoying that part of it. Like I said, Harry lets us do what we want. Harry, the owner of Marcosia.
Hmm.
Um, that's just whatever we want to write, he'll let us publish. So you can't beat that deal. So um, but there are some one-off series that we've been talking about doing, and one of them was the Heartless.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we're like, let's try to go back to Kickstarter and see what we can do. Because right now we're getting ready to release issue 15 of Immortalis. The Heartless originally started, they first appeared in Immortalis at issue number 6. They've been in about 4 issues since then. So they turned into kind of a recurring character that we really, really like and really wanted to do something with. So we kind of did a little bit of their backstory with this 1 and 2 that we're doing this Kickstarter on.
Yeah,
And
I
that's it.
love
Sorry, I
the.
just kind of rambled on there on you.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I was gonna say I love the science fiction elements that are part of it. The action part of it comes through really well in the art, and then also there's some really nice mythology. So anything about the sort of the creative spark, the ingredients that you want to mention.
Yeah, so that's when we first started to create Immortalis and the Immortalis verse as we're calling it now. We started from the hero's perspective. All right, always want to start with the protagonist, that kind of thing. And we were looking for who can we have that's um, people would know a little bit about, not a lot about, that way we could kind of teach them about different things. And we kept coming back to the old mythical gods, the deities from Aztec gods, Roman gods, Greek gods, Celtic gods. All there's so much mythological lore out there, and just wonderful things to dig into that we like. Yeah, these have got to be our big bad heavies. We're gonna dig into that, use that because it. I mean, as much as some people might know about Zeus, there's all kinds of other Aztec gods that nobody knows nothing about that we're kind of drawing from that and building our own universe around it. So it's kind of fresh, but still known to people. So,
Nice, nice, love that. Yeah, I was a big mythology kid growing up, and
oh,
I
nice.
continued to be interested in it, and science fiction fans, and of course comics all roll into that.
Oh, yeah.
What's it been like on the writing side to get to unfold the Immortalis and then these sort of chapters that branch out from it as well?
It's been really, really fun because we have a team of characters. Our main character is Tam Montefiore. She's the heroine, the main protagonist. She's out of time by about 200 years. She got put in stasis because, it's there's this whole thing about the heaven and hell who recruited her read the tea leaves wrong, just to kind of sum it up quickly. And she was in the wrong timeline. So they had to bring her 200 years into the future, put her in stasis. She was born in the 1800s. So they got to build this team around her because she's like a 21-year-old girl. She knows
Hmm.
she's not been trained enough. She's gonna have to fight these old gods in a time she doesn't know, weapons she doesn't know, that kind of thing. So the good thing about building that team around her is we have like a vampire, a 13-year-old sorcerer from Asian descent, who has like the 9 spirits of his ancestors who all kind of inhabit him. We have an immortal who is from Lemuria. That ties into the Zeus myth and the Poseidon myth and all that. So, with all those different characters, we found that we have a really great opportunity if we want to tell a cowboy story. We got these people from the 1800s, that were there in the cowboy days. We can tell a cowboy story. we want to tell a vampire story in the 1940s, we can do that with the vampire because he's been around about 100 years. We can go back to, the 1800s in England with Tam and to tell her childhood story, that kind of thing. So it just gives us this great opportunity that any story we can think of that we think we can write well, we get to tell with these characters. So it makes it kind of nice.
It's nice, yeah. Anything about the creative team that you'd like to mention? Because the art comes through really well. There's a nice gloss and professionalism to it as well.
Thank you. Yeah, we have so I've been really lucky. I've always worked with great artists. You hear all these stories on the horror stories on the indie side of it. Artist starts a project, gets 10 pages in, and it dips out on the creators or something like that, and I understand that. Sometimes it's a money issue, sometimes it's just time. Most of us all have day jobs. We're not making a ton of money off doing independent comic books. So we got day jobs, we've got to support ourselves. I've got really lucky. I've never had an artist dip out on a project on me. I've never not completed a work on the timeline we want to get it done. Um, Actually, our first four issues were done by four different artists because we had this big idea. I don't know what we were thinking that we were going to do 12 issues a year, just like the big three, Image and DC and Marvel. So that's why we're doing
Mm-hmm.
two issues on every Kickstarter, three Kickstarters for six issues. But we decided, we'd use different artists because, that kind of timeline, you're not gonna hit it. Like I said, people got day jobs, things like that. But what it did do for us is it got us a great chance to kind of figure out which art style fit best with what we wanted to do.
Hmm.
So we had those first six issues, and they were done by four, I think five different artists did those. And we actually brought on a guest artist for our issue 8 and 9 because it's kind of a horror story, kind of a vampire horror story, but that was kind of a guest artist thing. But we sat down and we really looked at it and we thought for the art we wanted to do, the story we wanted to tell, we liked what the artist Ramad Wisnu, who did issue number 2 and it did the Heartless Bastards for us, what he was really bringing to the table. He has that kind of a 90s superhero style kind of to it. And me and Ryan both grew up on the 90s comic boom, that kind of thing. So we
Hmm.
sat down
Hmm.
with Ramad and said, if you put us the first line, we'll guarantee, we're going to do this 6 to 8 year series. And I know he's probably thinking at the time, yeah, sure, buddy. I hear that all the time. But he said, yeah, I like what you guys are doing, so I'll sign up for that. So he had a colorist buddy. He runs a little studio called what's it called? Oh, I'm losing my mind now. I can't remember the name of his little studio, but he said, yeah, I'm fine with that. If you guys think you can do it, I'll sign on for it. So he's been awesome. He meets all his deadlines. He is currently doing issue 20 right now, wrapping it up. Like I said, we're getting ready to release 15 through Marcosia next month. So he puts it out. He puts out the work. He does great. His color stays on track. We got really lucky with our letterist, our letterer, sorry. His name is Amal Desai. He's out of Chicago. And I actually, another horror story you hear a lot probably on the indie scene is hiring people off Reddit and things like that. But I actually met Amal through comic book collabs on Reddit and just phenomenal lettering, does so good, always meets his deadlines too. He actually just got nominated for a Ringo Award. So he's in the running
Oh,
for that this
nice.
year. So yeah, yeah, I know. I was like, oh my gosh, how did I get so lucky with all this talent around me? So, um, so yeah, put that team together and Ryan's kind of a big picture idea. So he did the overall 3 arc story of the whole thing spanning the 6 years. And I'm just a daily writer, man. We just been really blessed so far with a great team that always meets their deadlines. And like I said, when we get a little extra time, if I'm behind on scripts or something or writing, that's when we did Heartless Bastards. Ramad said, I'll jump in and I'll pencil and ink that for you. And that's where we are now. So
A great team makes it come together.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I can't believe how overabundantly blessed I got with this team. So
Yeah. No, anything that you'd like to say as far as the fan response so far? I imagine having this kind of work out there, you've gotten to do some conventions and interactions with
yeah,
people. So anything like that that's been rewarding or surprising so far?
it's been awesome for us. So our first year we did, I think it was 17 conventions. We're like, we're going to hit the ground running. We've got extra issues from the Kickstarter, that kind of thing. So we're like, let's just get out in the convention, see that scene. I had been to Denver Fan X for 2 years as a fan, just, just paid the entry fee, came in, see all the sites, see all the creators, all that kind of stuff. But I'd never done it from a tabling side. So my very first con was Albuquerque Comic Con. I just loved it. I mean, the fans are there to see creators. They want to hear about things they don't know about. I mean, they know Spider-Man, they know Batman, and sometimes they are there to see Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, that kind of thing. If they walk by, they are so nice to talk to you and just say hi, and then, hey, you got 30 seconds to I'll hear what we're all about, see what our Immortalis is about, hear what the Heartless is about, and they'll give you their time. The fans have been super awesome. I love doing cons. I'll never stop doing cons. It's just a great scene. It's just a great almost like giant family of comic fans. So
Nice. Anything about the unfolding plan and what Kickstarter has allowed you to do?
we've not had any problem with Kickstarter. We're a Teen Plus series, so they as soon as we came back, our project got approved like within I think the same day. And I've heard of some artists right now. I think Kickstarter's trying to do this trying to set up a Kickstarter After Dark type thing for all
Hmm.
the NSFW stuff there, which I understand that. I mean, I I don't care what anybody does. If you can make money off of it and you get comics into people's hands and it's what you want to do it. It's not our thing, but you do you, right? So
Hmm.
I've had
Hmm.
some buddies that they had a lot of problems with getting their Kickstarters approved within the last month. I think because of that. But like I said, we're a Team Plus series. We do have a little blood, a little violence, comic book stuff. We'll drop an occasional hell, maybe a bastard, maybe a damn, but
Right.
we're not over the top with it. We're not trying to do anything salacious. So yeah, it's really I've been excited to get back to Kickstarter. I feel like even though it's been probably getting close to 2 years since our last Kickstarter, it just feels like riding a bicycle, jumping back on that. So
Nice. Nice. What is your creative vision going forward for the universe? I imagine it's expanding all the time.
yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like I said, it's awesome that we can take a story anywhere we want to go. Not in the main storyline with Immortalis. That's just Tam's story, the team story around her, but it's at the core, it's her story. But right now, we are going to do an anthology at the end of the year that's going to be a hardbound book. It's going to contain the Heartless story we're releasing now. After that, we've got a Western story with the immortal Jason Akianos. It's called 1909, set in 1909. And then the third story, which we'll probably release on Kickstarter too before we do the anthology release, is called Allegorical Eulogy. Ben Perkins, a great artist out of up around Portland's doing that one for us now.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm really excited. Like I said, anytime it's great that I keep my writing a little bit ahead with the main universe of Immortalis with Tam's story. So like if I get a sailor story stuck in my head, I'm like I'm writing it. I can take 3 weeks and do that first draft and come back to it later and jump right back into Immortalis. So it's really been awesome. I've really been enjoying it. So
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you have an expanding creative network there with Ben Perkins as well. I think he's
yep.
been on the show.
Oh,
So
nice.
very cool very cool to make those connections too, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's really great. We got some cover artists I never got a chance to work with before, some bigger names for the Heartless. Matt Campbell from Mythica is doing a cover. Daniel Pez Lopez is doing a cover. He did some He-Man and Mattel stuff for Mattel.
Mm.
Matt or William Russell of Psycho Sal, who's done
Hmm.
done a Pharaoh cover recently for Image. He's doing a cover. So all professional. I don't know if it's I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it, but I have never met a bad artist or had a bad experience with some of the artists we've chosen for cover work or internal work or anything. It's been so awesome lately. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about the horror stories you hear. I'll just let that play out, however. But I mean, I've had nothing but a lot of respect going both ways for everybody I work with in the independent scene.
Cool, cool. And may it continue to be so. May it continue.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. If I want to find out more, where are some places that I might go to do that?
So mnlcomics.com, that's MANDL comics.com. That's our website. You can go there, see our merch, get back issues, that kind of thing. Um, on it's also M&L Comics on Facebook. There's also Tam Immortalis on Facebook, Tam Immortalis on Instagram. You can find us there. Um, uh, my Instagram is here I am dot rocky like a metaphor. And
Cool,
oh, I'm
cool.
so sorry. Marcosia, they release our issues digitally on Drive Through Comics and Cosmixology. So up to issue 14 is there. You can find our graphic novels. The first one has issue 1 through 5, and the second one has 6 through 9. The third one we haven't released yet. We're trying to figure out where we want to kind of stop that run, either 4 or 5, or maybe even 3 issues. That's Barnes and Noble, Waterstones, Amazon, Walmart, all the big bookstores. So
Nice. Have we missed anything that you want to make sure to include before we close out the talk?
I don't think so. You led everything in the right direction, so I think I hit all the points. So
Perfect, perfect. We try. Well, glad to have you back anytime, of course, and glad that
awesome.
we connected, I think through a mutual friend. And
Yeah,
yeah, best of luck with the campaign and the unfolding universe, and many thanks for the chat.
awesome. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it.